Hey everyone, so something that I hear sometimes is I don't know where to get started with AI. It's a lot of options, it's overwhelming, there's so many programs, and you just don't know where to get started. And that's very fair. We have come so far so quickly that there absolutely are a ton of options, and it is overwhelming. I get that. So, let me break down the top choices for me. Now, this won't be for everybody. There are many other programs out there, like you can subscribe to Just GPT. You can subscribe to Write. You can subscribe to Novel AI. Those are all good options too. I'm not including Novel AI in here, even though I'm in Novel AI daily. Just because Novel AI is not beginner friendly, and it's also very much not safe for work. I would not have, say, a child with Novel AI unsupervised. So even though I'm in it every single day, I don't consider it to be one of these options. Just because, first of all, it's a co-writer, not a prompter, and it's not jump in and get started beginner friendly. I'm not really partial to Write. I have other tools that serve the same purpose for me, so I don't include that. And I'm not subscribed to chat, so I don't have that included. So these are the ones I want to talk about today. Now, straight off the bat, my favorite, the one that I suggest, is going to be Claude Pro Projects. But let me break down the other options for you, and let me show you kind of where we are. So, as far as the least expensive, like if you're on a budget, it's not going to be the most beginner friendly and it's not going to be the easiest to learn, but Open Router, pay as you go, and you can load up $5, or they have a bunch of free AIs if you just want to get started. So the reason I don't love it though is it's mobile, but your messages that you do, say, on your phone are not on your laptop. There are many AIs, so it's easy to get overwhelmed. I'm going to show you each of these in detail too. It is easy to jump right in, but there is a little bit of a learning curve. And messages sometimes save. They typically don't though, so don't ever trust it to save your messages. I use it when I'm playing around with something, when I'm writing like flash fiction, or when I'm just doing some quick research. I do not do it if I need to actually save a message, if I need to come back to it. If you saw the short horror story that was done in Open Router, and as you saw, within a week we lost all the messages and had to be like, hey, this is what we're doing, can you just continue it? Not the most fun thing ever. But it is a very cheap option. With the free AIs, you can actually do completely free. The free AIs are not very good. I will tell you that right now. If you just need something cheap and you're on a budget, I get that. And for that reason, they exist. But you're not going to get the best pros out of them. Just keep that in mind. Raptor Write is free. The program is. There's been some confusion. The actual program is free. The AIs, though, you're going to do pay as you go because Raptor Write ties into Open Router. So Open Router is where you put your money. Raptor Write pulls from the AIs in Open Router. It's just an interface for using those AIs. It's like a layer on top of Open Router. If you think of it like an onion, the AIs are going to be that center of the onion. Open Router is going to be the next layer out. Raptor Write is going to be the layer after that. So Raptor Write is not mobile. Messages don't go between different devices. So if I'm, using Raptor on my computer, but not on my, other computer, it won't be the same Raptor Write. Like I can't cross-reference my books. So that's as of right now recording this. That doesn't mean that that's going to be how it is forever. And just like with open routers, there's many AIs. There is a learning curve. Messages do save typically. If you're not having messages saving, check on their Discord. They're really helpful with, any kind of tech issues. Novel Crafter, I like it. It's a subscription. So it's a subscription. Oh, I need to do. So it's a subscription, and then on top of that, you pay for your AI usage. So Novel Crafter can be super expensive just because you have that base subscription price. But then also, just like, Raptor Write, it's basically, it would be on the same onion level as Raptor Write because it's an interface for using those AIs, but you're using it through Open Router. It's not that you're paying Novel Crafter directly for the AI usage. You're paying Novel Crafter for the subscription, and then you're paying Open Router for the AI. It's a little tricky. I don't consider Novel Crafter beginner friendly. It's a great program, but there's a big learning curve. It takes a while to get a book set up. It is mobile, but it's cumbersome moving between the different sections. One thing that people really like is the organization of Novel Crafter. I do too, except it becomes kind of cumbersome when you're jumping between the different sections. Some people love that it's so organized and so niche and just, you have your people in individual sections. I'll show you what I mean. Some people don't like that. Messages do save, of course. So over to Claude Pro Projects, which is, of course, my favorite. It's a subscription, but you do get some free messages every day. Projects, though, which is kind of the heart and soul and the beauty of Claude Pro Projects, is not part of free messages. It is mobile. It's easy to bounce around mobile. There's only one AI, though. I mean, you can move between Claude and Haiku and Claude Sonnet and Opus, but you're only dealing with Claude. So if you want, say, DeepSeek, if you want GPT, if you want Nematron, you're going to have to, go to Open Router and do a scene in Open Router and then plop it back into your book on Claude Pro. You can't jump between the different AIs. In one way, that's nice though, because you're not overwhelmed with the different options. In another way, if you are comfortable jumping between the AIs and you have different ones that you use for different scenes within the same book, it can get frustrating. It's easy to jump right in. It's easiest to just, it's the one that's the fastest and the easiest to just be like, boom, 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 let's get started. Messages save. It's not per hour, but message limit throughout the day. It's not like you run out of it per hour. It's not like you get 60 messages per hour. It's that you get less messages the bigger the threads are, and you will run out even with short threads. Now, what I do when I run out, and this is the biggest complaint that people have, is when, they run out of messages, they hate it because they're on a roll and they have a really nice long thread. Well, that nice long thread is why you ran out of messages so quick. You will run out of messages no matter what. I'm going to have a video up very shortly of how I extend my messages as much as possible, just a couple tips and tricks. But that's the biggest complaint that people have, and I absolutely get it because I've had the same complaint. It's not a fun experience when you're on a roll and you run out of messages. When that happens, I jump over to editing something else, or I'll write some flash fiction, or I'll make a bunch of covers, or something like that. Poe, it's a subscription. You get a lot of different AIs, though. You can even have, there's some imaging ones. It is mobile. It's easy to jump right in. Messages typically save. I like it for the free messages. I don't have a subscription to Poe, but I do use it daily for the free messages alone. So these are my 5 that I am in every single day. So let me show you what they look like. I'm going to show you right to left. So I want to end on my favorite, and I want to show you Claude. This is Novel Crafter. So this is the chat. This is a brainstorming thread. And this is just, you chat here, you select your AI. As you can see, there's not a ton because you need to add them in. To add them in, you go here, you go here. This is where you add the model. And this is how it's tied into OpenRouter. These are all the ones that OpenRouter has available. You would just select one of these, and then it would be available for you for chatting. This is where you have your outline. This is where you write your scenes. This is where you just chat. You can also chat with the scene in the actual book, which is how I prefer to do it. This is where you review, where you have your total word count, your word count by scenes, your character distribution by scenes, your heat map. It's a lot of information. However, it's overwhelming, it's cumbersome, and there's a learning curve. If you're comfortable with the AI and you're ready to go, perfect. Novel Crafter is a great little tool. I do not suggest Novel Crafter as your first dance with AI. It's not the first conversation that you're going to have, just because it is so much to learn. And yes, it's a beautiful tool. Yes, it's really nice. And yes, it can help you organize your book. But some people don't love this level of organization. Some people, want something a little bit more simple. Some people just want to chat with the AI and write the book on their own and not worry about this. If you love the tools here, great. There's a subscription. Go ahead and grab it. But I don't suggest this as your first AI adventure. This is Raptor Write. So Raptor Write, again, very easy to use. You put your book here. You can add documents here. So say these are your chapters. The thing that I really like about Raptor Write, and this is a completely blank book, is that say, you're up to chapter 10, but that in chapter 31, we're going to reveal that the butler killed the mom with arsenic or something. You can have chapter 31 written down here and just turn it off. That's turning it on. That's turning it off. If it's off, the AI does not have access to it. So you can keep writing and it will never know that in 31 the butler did it. But it's not the easiest to use. I love Raptor. I love that it's a free tool. You're paying for the AI through OpenRouter just like you would be with Novel Crafter. But it's honestly not the easiest to use. It would not be my first choice. If I was like, hey, you've never played with AI. Here you go. No. If you've never played with AI, then OpenRouter can be fun. But the only reason that I say not for a very first time is because there's so many choices. So the pros are, of course, it's incredibly cheap. You can load as little as $5, and $5 will sometimes last you months depending on your AI usage. It also lets you test out the different AIs, and it lets you kind of get to know what their prices are like. However, this is an overwhelming list, and as a first-time user of AI, I don't want you overwhelmed. I don't want you to be like, oh my god, this is so complicated, I can't do this. No. I want you to be like, hey, this is easy, I want to learn more. Let me find out what else there is. That's why, honestly, OpenRouter, as fun as it is, as good as it is, I don't suggest it for a first-time usage. So, Poe. Yes, very easy to use, but again, there's a lot of choices here. Tons and tons of choices. It's the same kind of overwhelmingness as Open Router, only it's prettier, and also there's imaging. And also, it's got a subscription, but you get some free messages per day. If you're used to AI and you're not using your free messages, why not? Even if you just come in here and be like, hey, I don't know how to professionally respond to this work email because I don't know how to say this in a way that won't get me sent to HR kind of thing. Come in here and ask it. I've used this for, hey, I need help writing a thank you card. Absolutely fine. Those little tasks can be made so much easier with AI, and you don't even need to be worried about like your new novel that you want to be, 200K. So I'm going to use Sonnet really quick, just because I really like Sonnet. And I'm just going to show you, hey, we're going to ask for a plot to a novel. Now say I don't know the typical length for the genre and the typical word count and the typical chapter number. The AI knows those things, and we're not asking for anything that it's never heard of. It knows what a fantasy novel is. It knows what a cozy fantasy is. So I need the typical length of the genre, the typical word count, and the typical chapter number. Send that out. See? Total word count 70K to 90K, 20 to 30 chapters, 2,500 to 4,000 words. How it differs from a basic epic fantasy. And then how about an outline? This is a very basic outline. Resolution, cooperation, kindness, new normal established, cozier than before, super cute. I'm saying, okay, so let's create a plot based on that outline, please. Oh, and there's a grumpy tea drinking dragon who's the size of a cat. That's adorable. And there's this colorly hedgehog and the herbalist next door. Super cute, super sweet. Very cozy vibes. This actually sounds really, really cute. I'm going to go through this until we run out of messages. Saying adorable, let's start the first chapter. Please give me the entire chapter in one message. Adorable. Yes, please continue with chapter 2. Those little messages that were at the bottom are another nice thing about Poe. So see what I mean? It's easy to jump in. And it's cute. And you can also compare between the two. Or between the three. 11 Labs is audio. So that's nice too. So like if you're doing an audiobook, you can use 11 Labs. So far, free messages, we're at chapter 3. So you can actually do a lot with Poe with free messages. See how we have 15 points remaining? Continue with chapter 4. And we ran out of messages. So, we got the plot and the first 3 chapters done. Now you can go edit them. You can't use this for another, I think, 25 hours? 24 hours? Let me see here. Resets in 9 hours. Okay. So that's not terrible. Yeah, so there you go. Cute. You got 3 hours, or 3 chapters done. Resets in 9 hours. Get rid of that. So, this is Claude. And how you would just get started is the exact same way that you get started in Poe. I'm going to use the same prompts just so I can show you. Gives a little bit more info. Now this, I'm going to paste over here. And then that became a file. Then I'm going to do this, and then see how that's a thread now. So now I'm going to go over here. Oh, another magical tea thing. So unlike here, where it gave the basic plot structure, and then I asked for a plot, this went right into here's the outline. And then the outline for this, what is this called? Okay, you didn't name it? Alright, that's fine. It's the outline. Then we're going to go right back here. And then, so this thing, when it's on a white background, it's an artifact. When it is on a black background, it's a console. Console's normally it talking to itself. Artifacts are when it's white and it's what it's actually giving you. You don't actually need to know that, but when you ask for, hey, can I have that as an artifact, it knows what you mean. Moonlight and Time. That's such a cute name for the shop. So now that we have that first chapter, what I would do here is say, do you see any revisions needed? And just go ahead and revise and give me the full chapter with those revisions, please. And this is how I maximize my messages within Claude as well, because we're not keeping this all in one thread. This is, I needed the outline, I needed the basics for the book, I needed that first chapter. Great. Let's move on to a new thread. There we go. I'm not going to keep asking it if it needs to keep revising it, because in that point we're just going to get nitpicky and I don't want that. So chapter 1, add content. And you can do it per chapter, or you can just do, normally I have everything in a doc, and then you go from there. I just keep the latest version of the doc uploaded here, so that it has access to all of it at once. I would just go here, start the next chapter. So I hope this made sense, and I hope this explains why, even though this is $20 a month, why I prefer this for a beginner standpoint. And also, I'm just going to refresh so that you can see that everything's here. And also, as somebody who, like, I'm in Claude Pro Projects every single day because it's just that easy to use. It's my personal favorite tool. If I had unlimited messages, I would be very, very happy, but we don't, and that's not something we're getting anytime soon. So that's fine. It's not perfect, but as my favorite tool, it is. I'm in this probably 60 to 70% of my books. So if you have questions about any of these tools, let me know. And hopefully this helped you kind of figure out how you can get started easily so that the choices aren't so overwhelming and that you can just get started with AI and start having that conversation. Even if you don't use the AI for writing all the prose like I do, then what you can do is bounce ideas off. You can, see what works for you. Go from there. If you use it to find out your character names, that's okay too. Whatever way that you use AI, absolutely fine. Do what you need to do. No shame, no judgment. You have fun with it. Hopefully this video helped you figure out a place that you can start and breaks down some of those tools for you. Alright, thanks so much for being here.